GM?
GM.
GM. How are you doing, Xcode? How good, my friend?
Doing well. Yep. Doing
Been a
well.
while since we last spoke, right?
Yeah, it has. Long time.
Oh, 6 seconds, maybe?
4.5 seconds. Yeah, I was gonna say less than
Yeah.
10 anyway. Yep.
GM, Chap, Jindo, Sakalain, Crash, Evil, El Guapo, Shiftblade, Mountain, Defects, Tango Mike, Matt, Level X, Suro, Skykraken, GM, everyone. Pleasure to have you guys here. We have a lot to talk about today. We have council elections, we have updates on the Star Atlas trading card game from Jindo, we have a ton of C4 PTR bug fixing and features discussions coming up. It certainly has been busy, right, John?
Yeah, we've been cooking for sure.
We have been cooking. Like, I asked Sage to fetch me a report on the amount of bugs we fixed in the last 5 days. As soon as it's over, I'll post here, just so we can get a impression on all the work that has been done. Lots of work, guys. But it's coming to fruition, right? I mean, if you guys are playing the PTR, and most of you here are, I think you guys can see the results of our efforts, right? Please say yes. Oh, man. GM Michael, how are you doing?
GM. Are you and John working on anything for C4? I didn't know.
Oh, man,
I was thinking about it.
You come here, you post that cursed horse, and then you say this. Like, first thing, come on.
I also said good morning.
Yeah, true. At least you gave us good morning. True. Very true. Jim, sir, how are you doing, Michael?
I'm good. But no, in reality, you guys are absolutely cruising through a bunch of different bug fixes. John, I've seen you putting quite a lot of work into the Nemesis engine.
What do I have to show for it? A bunch of lazy pirates.
Lazy pirates that don't kill people.
Don't kill people.
They only
That's
make
how
you friends.
That's how we get there. Baby
I
steps.
wanna know who's like occupying Region 63 with all those Ooster ships, because they are about to become my targeting system practice here.
Is it you, Santorin? Who is it?
They're just like mocking me sitting there.
Yeah, they
Anyway.
need to be teach it a lesson. All right, guys.
So yesterday I got them working, and then they all went out, and I had forgotten to arm them with weapon systems. So they were targeting you guys with no weapon systems loaded. So I got those weapon systems in. Now I'm working and targeting again. But
now they are ready.
Getting ready.
Awesome. You'll be able to watch live the destruction of the player base. I like this.
You know, John, what would be cool is not for this phase of the PTR, or even maybe not for mainnet launch, but adding a logic layer to the Nemesis engine that lets them purchase components off of local markets and equip them, and then use that in patrolling. Becomes kind of a faucet for Atlas liquidity to people that are crafting.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Yeah, I'm writing that down.
Interesting. Yeah, I like it as well. All right, guys. Before we jump in, because we have a lot to talk in the C4 PTR front, I would like to invite, first of all, our council members, Emperor or Blade, whoever wants to come up stage to talk about the DAO elections, because they already started and we need to get people running for the council. Please, Emperor, come up stage, my friend. GM Emperor. How you doing, brother? If you are trying to talk, you are muted. He's building up the suspense, guys. Don't worry. You're more than welcome, Shift Blade. Michael, Chet Roberts is asking for you
Right.
to give a lyric speech on the DAO, but maybe after the councils present.
Sure.
Jeff Blade, can you hear us, my friend?
Yep, I can hear you.
How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. So, you know what? I was we were talking last night, and I think I'll just stir up a little bit of controversy. So basically, what's going to happen if nobody else signs up to run is that it would basically just be me and Emperor. We might do a few little AI bots, but I mean, I know how strong I can actually get when I don't have anybody to keep me in check. So that means that things might swing a little bit towards my personal tendencies more than I would intend necessarily. So unless anybody is okay with that, I would suggest people running, if only to basically provide a counterweight.
Jesus Christ, you guys heard it here first. Jeff Blade's going to start a
He's gone
communist
rogue.
revolution. Exactly. With AI bots and communism.
Well, I mean, like, we would still have to run the council, so, if you leave it up to just me and Emperor, I mean, there's only so many options.
No. We need more people running. we can have AI overlords and communism take over the DAO.
Hello. Sorry.
As long as your AI is counter to, like, it's your alter ego, and like that's probably enough, right?
Well, I mean, we were talking about trying to do AI versions of both Bohemian and Brian.
Jesus Christ.
Could do
I mean,
you could do a Carlos as well. You could get a jump Carlos in there.
We could add Carlos in there as well. I was also thinking about something where any community members who are at the meeting could weigh in, and then we have an AI agent that kind of takes that into consideration as well, which would be a
Jeff,
little bit more democratic. Potentially.
Can you guys hear me
depending on who's
now?
there.
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry. I'm Jeff. I don't know what you said in the interim, but yes. Sorry. Carry on though.
He said he was starting a coup to take over the DAO.
Not
You and
exactly,
him,
but
the two of
I
you,
mean,
Yeah, the two.
communism and bots. That's it.
Yeah. No. Thanks for having us on. Jeff, did you have anything to finish up there with your rant?
no, I think I basically covered everything that we were more or less going over last night.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah. A coup. Okay. It would be an unintentional coup. If me and Jith are the only counselors that are on the next council, I guess that would be exciting. It would be interesting for sure. So yeah. No, but I do I do want to encourage people to run. I mean, we're boring. It's governance. It's all the the minutia that goes along with all this stuff. But truly, all jokes aside, we can get stuff done. We can, there is more or less 30 grand in USDC in the ecosystem fund, and that's the main thing that the council does is kind of babysit the ecosystem fund. And I know there's some chatter in the DAO chat where people are suggesting that it goes away and we don't spend any money. But if anyone tuned in last week, I think, and Swags and everyone here, please chime in. But there was some losses. There were some, things that didn't exactly go to plan. But there's also some good things that came from, the DAO spending money. And like Sly and Adam and community meetups. I can't help but think, this is my point of view, obviously, not speaking for the council, but there's plenty that has been done with the money that the DAO has spent. And I think personally it's a net positive. And I think if we can continue to do, those things in the interim, I think it would continue to be a net positive. So I know, particularly the meetups, like that's a contentious thing. And unless you've ever been to a meetup and met some of these people in real life, like it's hard to quantify the return. But I can't help but think spending money on the things that we have has been a net positive. So we do need people to run. I would love to have a developer, a social media person. Jith has been a great doer, a person that just does stuff. Lanzer, he's going to be a huge loss for the council. As much of a nerd as he is, with the minutes and the streaming, all the things that he does, he's going to be a loss for us for sure. Marengo and the two sacks I've served on. I would love to have Drum Carlos run again, but I don't know that he's going to. But yeah, we need some people that want to give some time, to donate some time to the cause. And it'd be great to have, like I said, the social media person, the developer, and doers. So I think I'm done rambling.
No, I fully agree with you, actually, Emperor. I mean, I would love to have a communist revolution with bots, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have people that have been long-term community members, people who deeply care about Star Atlas, getting involved and helping us push the ecosystem forward. We have so many people, like the people here in the brew, the people who are here every day grinding PTRs, the C4 PTR, all of you guys can do more to help this dream come to life. And the council is one of those elements. Like, it's one of those cornerstones. So if you're thinking about running, if you think you could help Star Atlas, please do. It's a great moment to jump in and help shape the future of this metaverse, for sure.
Yeah,
Well
and
said.
none of us know what the future is going to hold, but we're all here cautiously optimistic on what it will hold. We're in a slump, like there's nobody denying that. But a 9-month term that starts in 2 months from now. And Swags, you can chime in. I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to have too much to do within a few months. So as much of a slump as we're currently in, that it could be, and it will be, I'm going to manifest that right now. It's going to be amazing. So we're going to have too much for the council to do.
Yeah, I'm not cautiously optimistic. I'm irresponsibly bullish, but that's just where I am, where I need to be. I can share just a few comments on this. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to share before I jump in with respect to
No.
pitching people on joining the council, but to the points made here, it is a substantial role in spite of, let's call it, the responsibility set, and the degree of power that the council has is quite restricted by design. But there are a number of administrative functions as well as really community sentiment functions that are really important, really critical that the council serves. And ultimately, this is part of the path and a stepping stone towards our end state goal, which is getting to a fully decentralized, distributed, and community-owned and run ecosystem with Star Atlas. And so, I can appreciate that attention might be low and interest in serving might not be extremely high, but it is a very important role across the ecosystem right now in shepherding us towards that desired end state. I won't speak specifically about any one of the pips, and I actually did not watch your guys' ROI brew regarding the performance of funding of various things. But what I can say definitively is that we're not in any way even considering shutting down the foundation, shutting down the DAO, removing the council. We are going to continue moving forward in whatever capacity with all of these entities and organizational structures, primarily, at least from the DAO and foundation standpoint, simply because it was a tremendous amount of work just establishing that in the first place. And a lot of legal analysis went into establishing our structure for both the DAO and the foundation. And given a current lack of any updated information on any optimizations that we could make and even future potential to reestablish this type of structure, to me, it would be a much bigger risk to that same long-term goal that I was describing if we were to eliminate the DAO now with the intention of minimizing any expenses related with decentralized operations, because we don't know what it would cost to reestablish in the future. We don't know if we could even do it again in the future right now. So even if this is proverbially limping along at the moment, I would much prefer to see the established structure remain, and whatever participation both on the council side as well as community side and ecosystem funding as much as possible right now. Chet, to your question, I mean, the big picture here long term is that we, what we've always communicated and what we intend to facilitate as we mature the product over time is a transition of the Star Atlas IP fully into the Star Atlas DAO. That means Automata as a studio, we don't own it. Now, certainly we want ways to capture value for our team and long-term value for the effort that we've put into building this product. And I have some ideas on how we can do that, which would consist of things like rev share agreements as well as continuation through development contracts with us as a studio. But it means that everybody who's holding Polis is now at least a partial owner of the Star Atlas brand, the Star Atlas IP, and any growth and revenues that are derived from that in the future. And so, like, ultimately what that would entail is Whereas right now we have a bifurcation of revenue streams across, certain items like game assets being sold, driving revenue directly to Automata, and then game activity, such as crafting fees in the game, it being a direct revenue stream for the DAO. Well, that all gets consolidated down into a single entity. All revenues flow to the DAO. And then again, the way that Automata sustains operations and continues to build the game in the future is through a development contract. That's the vision, that's the dream. And I think there's some misconceptions about what the DAO governance structure is intended to accomplish. It's really not a democratic system. I think, there have been some criticisms, if you will, that it's more of a plutocratic system. I don't necessarily think of it even in those terms. I think of it more like corporate governance. I hesitate to even say this, but I think we're in a market environment where regulatory risk is going down, at least under the current administration, and so we treat Polis ownership more similar to, say, somebody that would be holding voting shares in a company. And so it's not a one person, one vote, or one account, one vote system in any way. It's the amount of economic interest you have in the DAO via holding Polis and, of course, locking it with the multiplier functions. That determines your weight across the ecosystem. That's always been by design. And yes, that means that some people will have higher weights than other people because they've bought more Polis and hold more Polis. That is by design. And we want people that have the highest economic interest in the ecosystem to have the most control. All of this is very intentional, but I guess in a nutshell, just to summarize, it's again, all of the IP eventually moves into the Star Atlas DAO. We set up a contractual relationship between Automata and the foundation that allows for rev shares and development contracts. And ultimately, and I talked about this a lot all the way back in 2021, so maybe it's a refresher, but through this structure, and specifically because we are establishing these direct revenue streams into the DAO, it gives it a perpetual sustainability. To the extent that the product exists, there's users, there's people playing the game, and game assets are either being minted and sold, or even through some other structures in the game where they're being crafted. The DAO has its own source of revenue that allows it to sustain operations. That means that long into the future, and we could be talking about 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years from now, the DAO structure remains, the product remains, and of course it would have evolved a lot over that time. But the idea, the concept of Star Atlas and the dream of Star Atlas lives on in perpetuity because we've built this structure around it and have transferred the assets into the DAO and foundation structure.
Let's go.
Yeah,
You heard here.
Perfect. Yeah, and for those in the chat, I just posted the link to our DAO announcement where people can sign up and apply for a council position. So
Yeah, guys, we strongly recommend and encourage you all to do this. We need you. Star Atlas needs you. Raise to the call of the metaverse. Do your part in building this metaverse, this digital nation.
and you know what? As much as I joke around and say it's boring, it is to some people. But when you're on the council, we get to choose. We get to be a part of shepherding pips through and being a part of helping people. That's one of my big things. Like, we can help people and the ecosystem, by way of helping people with their pips. You also get to kind of be a part of creating systems. If anyone is interested in creating systems or being a part of, just doing and creating, it's really fun. It's rewarding. Some people might think it's boring, but as you can see in the DAO chat, it's not necessarily that boring. If people are interested in taking critical feedback and being, um, getting pushed out of their comfort zone, again, it's not the most like glorious thing, but if you want to be a part of making change, I guess that would probably be the better way to describe it. Definitely run. It's fun. We always have the 2 stacks I've been on. We build camaraderie. You get to know your fellow council members, and it's just something you can be a part of, and a group of people that gets together and pushes and fights through adversity. So I'm done.
Thank you, Emperor. Thank you,
Yep.
Chief Blade. Yeah, so go there. Emperor just posted the links for you to apply. And yeah, join the Star Atlas Metaverse. Help drive the ecosystem forward. We need you guys. Star Atlas needs you guys. All right, guys. Thank you very much. But we need to move on because we have a packed agenda for today. And the next individual that I would love to invite upstage is Mr. Jindo, because he has some updates for us. GM Jindo, my friend.
How's it going, gentlemen?
How good, how good. You
Yeah,
got the
GM.
good stuff for us?
I am going to be quicker than I planned on because the DAO took up half of the brew and I'm a C4 player and I want updates. So I'm going to kind of push through here fast.
Oh, man.
But I got the stream up already. I just want to show you guys what's going on. Pretty much all of this is active now within the game. And I've added something different here on the front page I wanted to show you guys specifically. One of the kind of the Star Atlas I don't know, namesakes to me is the community. And I thought that our game should have a community effort that's ongoing during each season for like a massive reward. So that's what the Frontier Dispatch is going to be. It'll be like a community challenge that is seasonal and everybody works on it together, and then you'll get a percentage of the cut, which for this one is a fat credits reward. But yeah, community challenges I thought was cool. That's something new. Let's see. This is just a basic look at the play page. It saves your decks for you. You can edit your decks from this page. This will show all of your recent game types that you've played, the most recent game types that you've played. And this is just what pops up when you hit the play button off of the main menu. So you hit play here, it pops up to this page, offers you deck selection and game type selection easily. The profile is really getting built out now. Like I said before, this is all tied into your Atlas launcher account. So when you download the launcher eventually, you will make an account just like you do with any other game launcher. And then your launcher controls all of your profiles, statistics, cosmetics, all of that good stuff. But the profile is really getting built out. This banner up top with Piort's head on it right here is actually an in-game profile. You'll be able to unlock different profiles, as you can see customized in the bottom left corner here. But you'll be able to unlock profiles, titles, different cosmetics, different emotes, different stuff that you can use during the game. It's all Star Atlas. I think the only emote that I have right now is a little, I have a bombs away emote that you can cast in the game, and there's like a little Bombarella that comes over the screen and does like a little animated bombs away and drops some bombs across your opponent. I have finished the first 15 missions of the single player academy tutorial as well. Each set here has 5 missions you can go through, and Piort will teach you through the mud campaign. I can't remember the name of the Ooster commander. Jose would have to help there, but he teaches And then Joni teaches the Oni control tactics.
All goes out there. Yeah.
Yep. The Celestial Archive is now active, so you can see all the cards you own. You can go in and see what all their different abilities do. And this has actually grown massively. I just added 400 cards to the game.
Jesus.
And I'll be talking a little bit more about that later, but we're up to like 415 total cards across the 6 different resources. So you can imagine all of the different stuff, including all of the current ships that are in the marketplace, all the way up through the Titans, are all available as a card in the game now. I got basic settings going, lots of different options for settings because performance obviously is something people, are concerned about. So you can set your settings basically to whatever you want now and even see what it's running within the game so you don't have to pull up your task manager and look at all of that. That's just a basic image of the shop. Here's the game types that I currently have active. Academy, ranked PvP, which is like constructed in Magic the Gathering. Casual PvP, practice, which is just bot match against the AI. I have Quick Draft and Premier Draft now, which are both pretty much the same as Magic the Gathering drafts. Quick Draft is against bots without a timer. Premier Draft is against 7 other players with a 45-second timer per pick. And you pick through 42 picks through 3 packs for each of the drafts. All right, so that was just a quick run through what the UI is looking like. I'm going to actually do a little demo game here for you too. But you guys have to forgive me on the UI. It is a mess right now in the game.
Nah, no worries. I'm excited to see those new cards.
Yeah, here we go. I'll show you some right now. I'm not going to go too deep into them because they're still really unbalanced, and I don't want everybody to see how bad they are. But but yeah, you can see like here. Let's look at.
They look great.
Yeah, no,
yeah, they're looking really cool. Here you go.
Look at that. Look at that.
Captain of the 9th Bell.
Nice.
Let's look. Here you go. Crown of the Lightning Stars. Or the Listening Stars. Sorry, I don't even know the damn names of them yet. There's so many. Field Medic. This is what MUD should look like for all you developers that are working on Star Atlas. This is what we want MUD to look like. Just throw that out there.
Jindo, and how the rarity works in this game? It follows the general Star Atlas rule, like common, uncommon, rare.
Yeah, so you can look right here. Yep, common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, and anomaly. Nice. There's only 9 anomalies right now.
Let's see those bad boys.
The Basan Last Stand is here. Flying, stealth, undetectable with 9 attack, 12 health. And this cost is messed up. Like I was saying, the UI is totally screwed.
Yeah, no worry.
But this is a Tufa. This is a Tufa that's bright. The art on the Tufa and the Fatolis is not right yet. But the cards will be the same. The War that walks as a Tufa. Yeah, here's a couple of Fatoli cards. Undetectable means they cannot be hit with any spells. So like a normal spell card in a game, like a Destroy or an Exile card, you can't hit undetectable with that. So basically you can't cast a spell against that Fatoli. And this one's similar. But all right, well, that's for all you guys to dig into later. I am going to show you what the actual game's looking like. And the combat animations are a little bit extreme right now. Don't don't judge me on the combat animations. I think I'm actually going to roll with MUD. Go figure. So yeah, here's what the cards are looking like in the game.
Nice.
And you can see the cost. Much easier to tell here. But yeah, just as with Magic the Gathering, this is actually a pretty good starting hand. I have 2 resources, and I have a card that costs only 1 diamond. So I'll go ahead and keep this. You can take a second chance, but it reduces your health by 1 if you want a different set of cards. But I'm going to keep these.
I like the arena as well. Looking good.
Yep. Yeah, the arena's starting to look good. This is for me currently to make sure that everything's working right. So that won't be there when you're actually playing the game. This bar up top that tells what's going on. But yeah, you can see it's all working properly. The AI is actually doing what it's supposed to. Here's a draw card. The Sentinel is super overpowered right now. And like I was saying, some of the art is still off, but you also have the commander abilities. Each commander has a different ability, and you'll be able to buy different commanders or earn different commanders throughout. But Port has Atlas Strike, which just does 2 direct damage. But yeah, that's pretty much where it's at, dudes. So
I like it.
yeah, it's
Good job,
it's
Jindo. It's looking really cool.
definitely is getting there. Yep.
Looking great,
Really,
man.
the only other thing I have to say is I'm in need of some more testers. So if you guys have any interest in helping test this in any way, there's obviously no requirements, but even just getting in and looking through cards and finding cards that are off balance somehow, they're too strong or not strong enough or cost too much or cost too little. Or I like I said, I have the Premier draft ready to go. It's actually built into the game, but it requires 8 players live at the same time to do it. So I haven't been able to test it at all yet. So I'd like to get up to at least 8 testers. I think I have like 4 active people right now. But definitely shoot me a DM or a friend request if you guys are interested in testing. Because probably within like the next couple of months, I'm going to say like 2 or 3 months, I will be putting out more of like a live beta version for more of a public test.
Yeah, guys, come on. Help Jindo here. He's doing Iris work. Shoot him a DM. All right, guys, any questions for Jindo before we close and move on to C4 PTR? I guess we are good, Jindo.
Thanks, guys. And I just wanted to respond to your first question of the day, Jose. Everyone sees you guys putting in work. I know nobody answered in chat, but it's there. It's there.
Thank you, Jindo. I appreciate it, friend. We'll show some of our work now, as you guys have been showing the hard work of the DAO and your work building the trading card game. I guess it's time for us to show some of the work that has been going on the C4 PTR. We got plenty of time. So, where do we start? I actually asked our in-house AI to provide me with a rundown of everything that we did on the last 5 days for the DAO, for bug fixing the PTR. So I'll drop here in the chat all the metrics, and then I will post a more detailed breakdown of everything that we have been working on the C4 PTR. It's here on the chat. So we squashed 64 bug items from the list. And yeah, it's a lot of items. I won't read everything, but the game should be substantially better now for everyone who is playing the C4 PTR. I mean, it's not that we have run out of bugs, but the bugs that exist now are not game-breaking, deal-breaking bugs as we had before. Of course, there are still some stuff that needs to be resolved. I just finished it right now, fixing the bug that was on the top of the list, the AP bug. When you get attacked, you lose all your AP. It should be fixed now. So we are moving fast. Like this report here, those 64 items, this was done in the last 5 days. So basically from last Saturday to today, we solved 64 bugs. And we are keeping up a very good pace here. And we are probably getting close to the point where we can move to the next phase of this exercise where we start tackling some of the features, removing some mock data in some of the items, doing some feature balancing, going to things like uh, scanning patterns in the data running node, more game depth stuff that we had postponed until this point. I think we are getting close to the point where we can also start adding some small quality of life items that you guys have been asking about. And I'd like to hear from you, John, and you, Michael, how you guys are feeling overall on the progress and the next steps that we are going to undertake here.
Yeah, for sure. So my focus in the last week has been primarily on combat, safe zone combat against NPCs, combat XP, and star bases and how they react when you attack them and what happens when they change hands. So I realized that a lot of the open issues around star bases is still ongoing, but we definitely have better combat mechanics now. I'm applying what I'm learning separately to the Nemesis engine. We got those NPCs armed with properly calibrated weapons today, and I'm just working through the nuances of targeting moving fleets right now, because fleets send a transaction to the chain when they begin moving, and then we interpolate how they move on the map. Where they actually are at the map on the map at any given moment is like something that needs to be calculated, and so then when a fleet arrives there, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't register on chain that it's arrived. Like that happens on the next action that you take, the stop subwarp. So even though on the screen it looks like your fleet has moved and is stopped at the location that it's at, it's still technically in the warp or subwarp state until you do something else. And so now I have to interpret which fleets are nearby targets, not just look at them on the map, because the visual representation on the map doesn't mean anything on chain, sort of thing. So anyway, those are the kind of nuances that I'm working through with the Nemesis engine right now. But the underlying work was all about combat efficiency, the stuff that Jose is doing with AP, getting those reading properly. And I'm feeling good about the progress that we've made. And I'm really excited for the Nemesis engine to start expanding its territory. It's programmed to hold and garrison the star bases that are in its region. And then it's also programmed to expand its region once all this other stuff is working properly. I'm going to have it start expanding its own territory, and that's where you guys will have to step in and prevent that from happening, which you're already doing quite well. So yeah, so lots of progress there. Once those pieces are done, we'll move into more details about how star bases work when they change hands, making sure that the base level is properly shown in the UI, that the garrisons at each starbase are properly brought up to speed when they're taken over by the pirates. What else? Yeah, and then as far as other kind of high level bug things, I know we have some visual glitches with claim stakes that we're working through, and the next highest thing is like crafting residuals. To be honest, like the quality of the majority of the game loops has significantly improved, and I'm happy with our progress right now. And
Yeah, to add here, John, on what you're saying, I just posted a breakdown of our last 5 days in bug fixing, and it's quite the list, to say the least.
yeah,
And
for sure.
And the cool thing is that this is the public facing list. So this is like the bug fixing that you guys see done in the game. And I'm not really counting all the feature development that's being done in the backstage. We are cooking some really cool stuff for the next phases of the C4 PTR that don't go here. So yeah, it's from my perspective, it's shaping up really, really nice. Like nicely. We are making a lot of progress very quickly, and we are getting to the point where we can start moving to the next phase, which is super exciting because this is the cool stuff, like the features, the game design mechanisms coming to life, etc., etc. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Me
I'll
too.
just add, I mean, I'm very encouraged by the progress so far and how quickly we've been able to take something that was quite broken and turn it into a largely playable product. I mean, there's still an enormous amount of work to do, but just seeing the speed with which these major bugs and game-breaking bugs are resolved is again quite encouraging to me. Also, I don't know if we've really communicated it, but started getting some of the economic functions into the game. We may have covered this a little bit in previous brews. I'm actually not too sure, but there's a kind of a dual track model for ways that you can earn Atlas in the game, and we've differentiated those based on largely PvE activity and PvP activity. So in the case of PvE, which would be combat with Nemesis Engine NPCs, it would be Starbase upgrading, Starbase upkeep. Largely those mechanics for now. There's one or two things that we might add in, but I'll actually just stick with those three for now. Those all generate LP in much the same way that Star-based LP works today. And so if you're participating in those activities, then you're going to earn a share of a fixed Atlas emission pool that is a daily pool dedicated to LP emissions. The secondary track is PvP activity. And this consists of obviously combat with other players, but the reward mechanisms are not LP denominated. They are actually, there's something that we call the medallion system. And so for every fleet that you destroy, there's a calculated value of that fleet, and a percentage of that value is dropped in the form of these medallions. Now, medallions are redeemable 1-for-1 for Atlas. What I think is really cool about the medallion system, and was kind of a big decision that we made, was instead of distributing Atlas directly to the player wallet upon killing another player, we dropped these medallions, and now the player's faced with a decision on extracting the medallions that they've collected or continuing on with the fight, which may be pushing deeper into enemy territory. If you choose to push into enemy territory, all of the medallions that you picked up are in your cargo. And so if somebody were to destroy your fleet at that point, they would get all of the medallions that you're carrying, as well as a dedicated medallion drop for destroying your fleet itself. And then on top of the medallion system, there's an RNG system behind distributing loot. We're still refining this, but in an ideal world, the loot that gets dropped from a destroyed fleet would be pulled from a loot table determined by the ship config on the fleet that was destroyed. So some of the components and modules that are installed on that fleet would be randomly dropped. And then any other cargo that exists in that player inventory. So if they have toolkits or something on hand, or if they're transporting a resource and they get destroyed, all of the cargo gets dropped as well. I'm not sure that all of these systems are perfectly working right now. I think we still have some work to do on these, but generally speaking, on the PvP side, I guess what is important to emphasize is that there's really an uncapped, like a theoretical uncapped level of game emissions from PvP activity. However, it is a net burn mechanism, because the value that we calculate is driven largely by a simple score for the underlying unequipped hull value of a ship or ships in a fleet, and then a larger value applied to the ship config. And we're doing that so that we can eliminate some potential exploits around just like setting up multiple accounts across different factions and farming yourself for Atlas or for XP. That would actually result in a net negative outcome because the combination of medallions that get dropped and the RNG distributed loot that gets dropped from a kill is less than 100% of the value of the fleet, plus the resources that went into the ship configuration. So really players with more powerful, higher tier ship configurations are going to be worth more. Naturally, any fleets that are, or any ships in a fleet that are larger class, capital commanders, those are more valuable than extra small ships. But really happy to see the economic functions get integrated. And then we're finalizing some work right now as well on the progression mechanics of council rank, which is partially an economic function, and it's tackled from two sides. This is from, first of all, what is the XP curve for any particular license? So how quickly do you progress through a curve? And then the second piece of it is the event-based XP that you earn. So how much XP do you get depending on what activity it is that you're engaged in? So simple example would be if progressing through your pilot's license, what is the progression curve to get to max level there? And also how much XP do you get when you're warping, subwarping, or using warplanes? So that is getting tuned right now. And a secondary piece of that is that we're also in the final stages of refining what the XP migration or mapping will look like from Starbased. So, as we've kind of always communicated, if you're earning XP on your 4 licenses in Starbase now, that XP is going to carry over using a formula that we determine to bootstrap you with a certain amount of license points or council rank points across your licenses, as well as a certain amount of renown that you can spend on your council rank. We're trying to strike a nice balance here. I think we're landing on pretty good numbers. It's not necessarily going to be a one-to-one because the values that we use in Starbased are not necessarily compatible with the values that we're using in C4. But again, there's a formula that will convert your XP over. And then still the intention to have a drive for progression itself. We don't want everybody that has been playing Starbase to just start at max level. We want you still to work through the progression curve in C4. So those are some of the things that I'm really excited about. I know we still need to get the democracy module actually released, and that should be happening soon, and then we can start testing that. For anyone who's interested, democracy module is regional governance. On any tier 5 star-based across the game, you'll be able to work on a mega project, which is the installation of the democracy wing. And from there are requirements on crew to serve as diplomats and housing requirements to house your crew that are there. And every account will be bootstrapped in PTR with a certain amount of PvP that they can delegate. But obviously, as we get to mainnet, this is going to be pulling from, again, a daily epoch, looking at your PvP value in your associated account and profile, and that is PvP that you'll be able to delegate to these democracy modules. And why would you want to do that? Well, strictly speaking, it's twofold. One, it's you get to decide on fee setting at that local star system, and so the desire would be to establish your democracy module at a starbase heavy in commerce and crafting, because that's where a lot of the fees are being generated. You get to determine whether you're increasing that fee, decreasing that fee, removing that fee, and then biggest incentive is if you have a desire in increasing the fee and you have PvP delegated to that starbase with all of your politicians there, you're actually collecting a share of all of the revenue that's generated at that specific starbase. So we still need to get that in. It's currently feature flagged right now, but we should be rolling that out pretty soon as well. But that was a long answer, Jose, to your question of, how do I feel about the PTR? And I think it's just been, so far I think it's been moving great. Obviously, a big focus that I've asked from you guys is to make sure we continue working through game-breaking bug fixes so people can play pretty seamlessly. And from there, we'll move into a bit more polish on game balance, other economic systems, and to whatever extent possible, maybe adding in another feature or two, specifically thinking about this, all of the crew features and crew missions that you guys built out.
For sure, Michael. And I see someone here in the chat touched on one of the points that we were discussing in our team meeting yesterday, Michael. And I think it would be cool for you to share your thoughts on this. It was a Seafall question. And he asked, are we going to stick with the current resource locations? Mostly everything everywhere and only the richness as the differentiator?
Yeah, we just had a big conversation about this yesterday, and my perspective on it is that the current distribution is not what we should roll out to mainnet. It's kind of a deep topic because you guys were even sharing your input on game progression and satisfaction from gameplay, and also just complexity of gameplay coming out of the gate. And so, my personal opinion is that we should be restricting heavily the distribution of resources within the safe zone. Keep that limited. Maybe we stick with a resource set that is comparable to what's available today in Starbase, and you can still operate and progress your account and unlock access to new regions and new resources and new recipes, but at least then you're not overwhelmed with this list of 100-something resources, and I think we have 5,600 total recipe combinations in the game, and that's just a lot to absorb, especially if you're a brand new player. And so my thinking is we reduce the availability of resources in the safe zone, and that also encourages players to break out of the safe zone, get into MRZ, start capturing regions for specific resources, and then that